Pointing you all. But I just want to give a big welcome to everybody here. It's really lovely to see you, and lovely to see everybody. Oh, let me just see who's here. And Rita, hi, very nice to see you there. And let me have a look. Okay, really lovely to see all our congregants and non-congregants. It's lovely. We look forward to hearing, please God, after the Dvar Torah, we look forward to hearing Kabbalah Shabbat from David Harris. And before that, we've got a Dvar Torah from Morris. We look forward to that. That's going to be lovely. That's Morris Wiseman, in case there were any other Morrises here. Shabbat begins at 4:53 and it ends at 5:58. It's coming out now. It's coming out a bit. But this is a time where Shabbat it's a good time. It gives us a little bit of time before Shabbat, a little bit of time after Shabbat, so that which is good. This Sedra is Tetzaveh, and it speaks about the big day kahuna. It speaks about the priestly garments, about which I spoke on Wednesday morning. So I'm not going to speak any more about that. But it does speak about how they were made. And but I just want to speak about something about which I mentioned on Thursday morning in shul, because we had a little gathering and we had a yortzeit, and I thought it was appropriate to just say a few quick words there. And I just thought it was just like an appropriate idea. And the interesting thing is that if you look at this week's Sedra of Tetzaveh, it doesn't mention Moshe Rabbeinu's name. If you look throughout, it doesn't mention his name in Tetzaveh. And it's the only Sedra from Shemot until the end of the Torah, the Zot HaBracha, that doesn't mention his name, which is an astounding thing. Right through, from Shemot onwards, we mention his name, and it comes to Tetzaveh, it doesn't mention his name. And there are two explanations to this. And the first explanation is that this Shabbat always occurs from the yortzeit of Moshe Rabbeinu. Yes, Moshe Rabbeinu, we know his yortzeit, know the day of his death, which was, anybody can tell me, please? Nobody? Okay, it was, yes, thank you, David Harris. It's just
Zayin Adar.
Zayin Adar Rishon. Now, the question that we were laughing at the other day was whether it was an Adar Rishon or Adar Sheni, and where we should keep the yortzeit, and David would especially know about this because we had this question just last week in connection with the yortzeit that he has. Where do you do it? If you have a person who died in a normal Adar, should you keep it in the first or the second Adar? But the funny thing is, actually, according to the Ashkenazi custom, it's actually to keep it in the first Adar. According to the Ramah, he says that you should keep it interesting. But Yosef says, no, you keep it in the second Adar. So you'll find that you could have a brother and a sister, think about it, that have a yortzeit, and they keep it on two completely different days, because you've got two Adars this year, and they could be keeping it, or two brothers, they could be keeping it at two separate times. I just thought that's quite an interesting thing. But Moshe Rabbeinu died on Zayin Adar, so he must have been Ashkenazi, because it always occurs that Zayin Adar falls on Atar Tetzaveh, and Atar Tetzaveh is the one Sedra in the year, in this time, where it doesn't mention his name. It doesn't mention his name directly. And so therefore, as that alludes to the fact that he died in this particular week, which I thought is interesting. Another explanation is next week's Sedra. Next week's Sedra, we have the dramatic debacle with the golden calf. Moshe is up on the mountain and he's told, lech raid, kishiches amacha. He said, go down, because your people have become corrupted. They've built a golden calf. You've been away, and they've built a golden calf around the mountain. And at that time, there's sort of like a tete-a-tete between Moshe Rabbeinu and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's a discussion. You have this discussion, and Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, it's all recorded in the Torah, so you can actually read that. And he says to him, you know what? Hashem says to Moshe, I'm going to destroy the Bnei Yisrael. They're not worthy. I'm going to destroy the children of Israel. They're not worthy. They built a golden calf, and I'll make you the progenitor of the Jewish people. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, no deal. He says, Im Kain, he says, if so, Mecheni na misifrecha asher katavti, he says, wipe me out from the book, from your book, which you have written. And so the rabbis say that in order to fulfill these words of Moshe Rabbeinu, when he says, if so, wipe me out of your book, he was written out of the Sedra of Tetzaveh. And that's the reason why you don't have his name in the Sedra of Tetzaveh. So two reasons, quite interesting point. Indeed, I heard from this week from a chassid who I met in my school, and he said to me, I said to him over this little Devar Torah, and he says, he gave me a Hasidic interpretation. He says, in Cain, if so, mecheni na misifra chav. He says, if so, wipe me out from your book, from the book of Chav, which stands for 20. The 20th Sedra in the Torah is Tetzaveh. If so, wipe me out from that book of the 20th. In other words, the 20th Sedra of the Torah. Wipe me out. That's the reason why the Atar Tetzaveh doesn't have his name. Now, it's quite interesting, and I think nice words. But actually, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Zeichet Tzaddik V'Kodesh Shochan, and me being a Lubavitcher, I'm going to mention the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So don't have a go at me. He says the following, and I think we all agree this: when somebody passes away, the neshama lives on, the soul lives on in the next world. For that reason, even though Moshe is not mentioned in this week's Sedra, he is still mentioned by the word. If you look into the Torah, it is actually mentioned. He does mention him. What it says. V'atar tetzaveh. Look at the beginning of the Sedra. V'atar tetzaveh es b'nei Yisrael. You will command the children of Israel, whatever the commandments. You is referring to Moshe Rabbeinu. And the Rebbe says, you is a higher level than Moshe. Why is it a high level? Because when it says God, it speaks about Moshe. It says, Vaydaber Hashem o Moshe. God spoke to Moses, saying, God spoke to Moses. Moses is in the third person. Here, when it says V'atar, and you will come up in Esau, this is in the second person. It's a higher level. And so Atar is direct. It's more direct. Therefore, even though he passed away in the past week, in Zion Adar, his Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu's Torah, and his teachings live on in us. Shabbat Shalom. Now we continue now with Morris, who's going to give his own little Devar Torah.
Good afternoon. Difficult to follow that. Anyway, in 1586, a group of soldiers went to the aid of a village besieged by terrorists. This is the basic plot of the film made in 1954, The Seven Samurai, and was the second highest grossing film in Japan. This plot and film spawned a great following and five further films. I apologize, I've had a close encounter with the pavement just recently and my mouth isn't quite working properly. Magnificent Seven, The Return of the Seven, The Guns of the Magnificent Seven, Magnificent Seven Ride, and a remake of Magnificent Seven. Numbers are important. Would Joseph Heller's book, Catch-22, have the same impact if it was Catch-21 or Catch-23? The number 7 has a special significance for us. On Sukkot, we welcome 7 Ashpizin: Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Aaron, Joseph, and David. All men. However, my daughters also include 7 women: Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Leah, Miriam, Eve, and Ruth. Our forebears, of course, number 7: Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. Rabbinic Judaism considers there are 7 names of Hashem. The menorah has 7 lights. This year, Shemitah year, is the 7th year. What an immense act of faith it is to deliberately allow one's fields and orchards to lay fallow and refrain from production for a year. What humanity is created by releasing slaves from their burden and to cancel debt during the 7th year. In Hebrew, the number 7 has the same consonants as the word for completeness or wholeness. And thus, on the seventh day, Hashem rested and did no work. We are privileged to have this as our heritage, a day of rest ordained to us so far ahead of the rest of civilization. With this in mind, I wish you all a peaceful and restful Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Morris. A lovely Devar Torah, lovely short Devar Torah, to the point. And I just wanted to make a point about that. I love the music. Magnificent Seven. The music there. Yeah, dun, 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 dun. You didn't think you'd hear that from a rabbi, did you? But there we go. Now we go. Now we go over to David. Where's David? There we go. I do like that music. It is nice, isn't it? Let's add on David. That's it. Okay. And Morris, Shkoyach, thank you once again, and thank you for everything you do in the community. Lovely. Thank you. Okay, and there we are. Hey, David.
Yeah.
Coming in, David?
Yes.
Would you like me to put on the oops, sorry. Would you like me to put on the screen? Yes. I'm gonna do it. I'll be a devil. There we are. You can all. Last week I was asked by Morris. I was asked by Morris last week to have a look around to see who was looking up at the screen because we wanted to know whether we should keep that up or we should have you up, David. And we did have a few people. I would say 20 people, 20% who do look up at the screen. You can look up at the screen and follow it. You did Nefesh, if you so desire, or if not, you can look into a Siddur. It's up to you. I think a lot of people find it easier just to watch. So whatever. David, over to you.
Okay, thank you. And Morris, I hope you get over your close encounter. If I'd have had advance notice, I'd tried to have worked out singing L'cha Dodi to the tune of Magnificent Seven, but a bit late notice for that, so I'll have to stick to the ordinary conventional tunes.
Oh, David, you're disappointing
sorry
me. I was going to listen. You have a go. Have a go.
But, okay, well, but when we finished, I would like to. But when we finished, I would like to do something else as well, if I can. So we'll get. Okay. Anyway, let's get on. Yidei nefesh avarachaman meshach avdecha rutzonecha yarutz avdecha kemo ya yishtachaveh mulchadarecha yerav lo yedidatecha minofet suf avacholta Adonai Zev Haolam Nafshi Cholat Avatecha Anael Narafana La Ve'harod La Noam Zivacha As titchazek v'titrapei v'hayatala simchat olam v'tig yamuna rachamecha v'chusana benahuvacha ki ze kama nichsafti lirabti beret uzacha. Hey, la chamda, oops, I finished the verse out. La chamda libi, v'chusana v'al titalam, yigalena ufros chavivi alai, et sukat shalomecha, ta'yeretz mirkodecha, Nagila v'nismachabach ma'erev kivamoei v'chaneinu kimei olam Yadai nine 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 and nine 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 and nine 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 and nine 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 and nine 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 and nine 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 and nine 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 and nine 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 nine. Nine 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 and nine 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 and nine 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 and nine and nine 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 nine. And a nine 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 and nine nine nine. And a nine 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 nine. And a nine 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 nine. And a nine 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 and nine nine nine. And nine nine nine. And a nine 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 nine. And a nine 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 and nine nine nine. Adonai Naria Natsur Yishenu Kadmapana Patoda Bismirat Naria Love Rabbi Shana Akud Bedar Vamamta Elei Vaveim Vaim Lo Yadu Derachai Asher Nishpati Biapi Im Yivaum Amnuchati Shiru Ladonai Shir Chada Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz Shiru Ladonai Baruch Hu Shemo Basru Miyom Liyom Yeshuato Sapru Vagoyim Kavodo V'chol Amim Nifleotav Ki Gadol Adonai Umhul Meod No Rahu Al kol Elohim nine nine Kichol Elohim Aimim Elilim Vadonai Shamayim Asa Ot V'Hadar Le'efanav Oze Tiferet B'Mikdashav Havul Adonai Mishpachot Amim Havul Adonai Kavod Va'oz Havul Adonai Kavod Mo Sayu Mincha Uvo Lachatzrotav nine nine Ishtachavul Adonai Be'atrat Kodesh Chilum Mipanav Kol Haaretz Imru Vagoyim Adonai Malach Aftikon Tevel Baal Timot Yad Dinamim B'Meisharim Yismu HaShamayim Tagel Haaretz Yiram Hayam Umelo Yalo Sadai V'chol Asher Bo'ainai Az Yeranenu Kolat Seyar Lifnei Adonai Kiva Yishpot Haaretz Yishpot Tevel B'Tzedek V'yamim ben munato Ambai Tairai Nai 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 I'm Bairai Taram Bam 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 Bai Tanai Nai Adonai Malach Shazis Mazin Bishpote Hadigal Mayas, Madnale, Mayad Mashin, Rajans, Mayad Bishayim Yatsilaim, Arzar Walat Sadik, Ul Yisrael, Simcha, Simchu Tzadik, and Badonai, Veodu, Lezecha Kodsho, Mizmor Shir Adonai, Shir Chadash, Ki Biflaut Asap, Hoshia Lo, Yumino Zro Kodsho, Odi Adonai Yeshua Tov Yene Hagoyim, Zilakas. Zimnichin Chetzo, the Chodesh Afar, Yelifnei Melech Adonai, Yiram Hayam Noah, Tel V'Yosheva, Narat Yuchachachaf, Yachat Harim Yiranenu, Lifnei Adonai, Kiva Lishpat Haaretz, Yishpot Tevel B'Tzedek, V'yamim B'Meisharim, Adonai malach yirgzu amim yoshev kruvim tamnut haaretz. Romamu Adonai Elohim Shel Adon Maklav Kadosh Hu Moshe V'Aaron Chom Ushmuel B'Korei Shemo Korim Ad Adonai V'Hu Yaneim Amud Anan Yidaber Aleim Shamu Edotav V'Chok Natan Lamo Adonai Eloheinu, Ata Nitam, El Nosei Lahem, V'Nokei Malalilotam, Ramamu, Adonai Eloheinu, V'Ishtachavu, Lehar Kodsho, Ki Kadosh, Adonai Eloheinu. Mizmor LaDavid, Havul Adonai B'Nelim, Havul Adonai, Kavod Ba'ozayin Nai, Havul Adonai, Kavod Shemo Ishtachavul Adonai, B'Hadra Kodesh, Kol Adonai, Alamayim, Kavod Adonai, Almayim Rabim, Kol Adonai, Ba'ko Achayin Kol Adonai, Be'ada, Kol Adonai, Shover Arazim, V'Yishaper Adonai, Et Arzei HaLevanon, Aryar Kidem, Kemo Egel, Levanon, the Syrian, Kamo Venre Eimim, ay, Kol Adonai Chotzei Ma'avot Eish, Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Yachol Elayalot, Vayechesov Ye'arot, Uveichalo, Kulo Omer, Kavod, nine, Adonai, Lama Buyeshava, Yeshev Adonai, Melech Leolam, Adonai, Ozli Amoitain, Adonai Yevarech et Amo V'Shalom. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabla, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabla, Yemena Shamar Zachar Badibur Echad Yishmiyanu, Elam Meyuchad Adonai Echad, Ushma Echad Shemul Tiferet, V'aliti Lalecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabla, Yenai Likrat Shabbat, Lechuven Elachahim Makar, Magara Barachan Merosh Mikadem, Nasu Chasof Maseh, Machshava Techila Lechado, Odi Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabla, Yanai Mikdash Lechir Melucha Kumitzavi Mitocha Hafeicha Rav Lashevet Yemecha Bacha Uyachamo Allah Yichem Lalecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabla, Yananahit nari mea farkumi livshi bigday tivar dechami ayat beni shabei dalach mi korva el nafshi ya Allah chadodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabla nine 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 ari darari kiva rekumi ari uri uri shir da beri kavod adonai Allah yichni lana chadodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekala lo teva shiva lo tikomi ma tishtochachi umatami bach yachzu ani ayami v'nivneta al tilam nine lo chadodi likrakala B'nei Shabbat nekabla lo chadodi likrakala B'nei Shabbat nekabla v'hayulim shisa shosayich v'rachaku kol mevalayich v'yasis alayich Elohayich Kimzot chatam nahal kala nine lo chadodi likrakala B'nei Shabbat nekabla lechadodi likrakala B'nei Shabbat nekabla Yaminu smol Tivrotzi V'yet Adonai et haritzi Yadish Ben Parzi Van Nismacha Nagila Lechadodi Likrakala B'nei Shabbat nekabla Lechadodi Likrakala B'nei Shabbat nekabla Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala Gam b'simcha u'v'tzola Tov emunei am segula Boi chala nine Lechadodi likrakala B'nei Shabbat nekabla Lechadodi likrakala B'nei Shabbat nekabla
Shkoyach, that was really lovely. Thank you very, very much. A lovely rendition of Kabbalah Shabbat. The best I've heard the whole week, may I say.
Thank you.
That's a joke. No, it was a very nice rendition. Shkoyach, thank you. And what would you like to give us?
Right. Yeah. Somebody on this afternoon Zoom was attending Holocaust Memorial service a couple of weeks ago, organised by the Association of Jewish Refugees, the AJR, where Vivian made a presentation. And the Chazan, who was conducting that HMD thing, ended off with the traditional Sudash Lishit tune for Mizmor David Hashem Ro, Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd. And this person liked the tune and like to hear it. So an occasion has arisen, maybe, to hear it again. It's a bit peculiar to start singing tunes which are associated with Sudash Lishit. We haven't even brought Shabbat in yet, and we're already worrying about taking Shabbat out. But I thought I would like to do this one, and just for a few, you'll those of you who think you don't know it, you do. You'll recognise the tune and hear it.
Have you got the page in the Siddur, David?
I haven't. No, I'm using an art scroll to heal it.
Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it in our Siddur. Hold on. Just give me a sec. Okay, I'm here. I'm back again.
Okay.
Got it. Let me just say
a couple of words about this, because
yes, of course.
I think it was Robert who mentioned some time ago about people coming together and sitting around a table with a meal and then sharing Zmirot, sharing the Shabbat songs together. think Robert mentioned it. It might have been Robert if it wasn't. Well, perhaps he would have done if he'd have thought about it. But it really is very, very significant. And Sudashli Shit is really what, like the great time for this. And this is a tune which is really, if anything was ever made for Sudashli Shit, for the final meal of Shabbat, this is it. It just when I was thinking about it, it just takes me back to the first time I took a JFS group to Poland, which was in 1990. And we spent the whole of the week from Monday to Friday visiting places of Jewish martyrdom and Jewish slaughter and Jewish murder. And then we had Shabbat as a kind of an oasis of calm and an oasis of peace and reflection and good fun in the midst of all of that. And to have all of those, there were 42 sixth forms on that trip, together with a number of members of staff. And I still can recall, we came together, we sang Zemirot, and of course everybody sings this one. And the sound of all these, people, young and old, all joining together to sing this is really something quite important, quite impressive, quite powerful. And I just flipped over to this. And in fact, the copy of Tehillim that I'm using was given to me by a young woman who was on that trip. And she says, thank you, Mr. Harris, thank you for everything. I hope you use this in good health and remember the good times. I wish you much success, both in life and in football. Thank you again, Tanya. Now that young lady is called Tanya Jacob, but you perhaps know her better as Tanya Marcus. She's Daniel Marcus. You might remember Daniel Marcus from these parts. That's Daniel Marcus's wife. It's Psalm 23, and the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. But I think it's such a great piece of religious poetry. I'm going to read it. I know what it is in English, but I'm going to read it out anyway, and then we'll do it. It's a psalm by King David. God is my shepherd, I shall not lack. In lush meadows, he lays me down beside tranquil waters. He leads me, he restores my soul. He leads me on paths of justice for his name's sake. Though I walk in the valley overshadowed by death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in view of my tormentors. You anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever.
It is so nice, lovely. Page 574 in our Siddur, if you have it.
Yezmor le David, Adonai Ravi lo echsa, bin desha yar b'tzeini, al mei menuchot nahani, nafshi yashovev, nafshi yashovev, yancheni b'madlei tzedek, l'ma'an shemo. Gam ki eilach v'geit salmavet lo irara ki ata imadi shivtecha u'mishantecha shivtecha u'mishantecha hema yenachanuni Tarak lefanai shulchan, tarak lefanai shulchan, tarak lefanai shulchan, neged sararai. Tishanta Hashem em roshi, tishanta Hashem em roshi, tishanta Hashem em roshi, kosi ravaya. Hatov v'chesed yirdafuni kol yemei chayai v'shavti b'veit Adonai v'shavti b'veit Hashem li'orech yamim. Yanai, yanai,
That version, that was lovely version, David. That version is from Ben-Zion Shenker.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He just passed away about 3 years ago at the age of 94. So you think about that actually, because he did it in his younger years, maybe about 60, 70 years ago. So it's not that old, but we've always thought it's always been there. I don't know about you, it's always been there. But,
he said he wrote somewhere that he composed it thinking about it one Shabbat afternoon.
Really? Oh, well, there we go.
He had the tune in his head one Shabbat afternoon.
There are some people who can do that and compose tunes like that. I don't know how they do it. It's unbelievable.
But when you've got loads of people singing it together, it's great.
It's wonderful. Yes, I've heard it so many times. Beautiful. Yeah. Let's now go to Yigdal on page 12, please. Thank you.
Yigdal Elohim Chai v'yishtabach nimtza v'yein tzioto echad v'yein yachid k'yichudo nelam v'gam ein sof li'achduto ein lo demut haguf v'yein no guf lo na'roch elav kedushato kadmon chol davar hashem nivra rishon v'yein reshit l'reshito Ino Adon Olam L'chol Notzar Yorek Gdulato U'malchuto Shefan Vuato Nitano El Anshe Sgulato V'tiffarto Lo Kam Yisrael K'mo She'od Navi U'mahabit Et Emunato Torat Emet Natam Ni'amoel Al Yad Nvi'o Neman Beito Lo Yachal Yifa'el V'lo yamir dato la'amim nezulato sofev v'yodea setareinu mapik v'sof davar v'kapmato gomer ish chesed gan mifalo notein brashara kerishato yishlat l'ket shamim meshicheinu liftot mechakekei yeshuato made him yamayel berov chazdo Baruch Atayah, Shem Tehilato, Meitim Yechayel, Baruch Hasto, Baruch Atayah, Shem Tehilato.
Shakayach, really good, absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Shakayach, David.
Shakayach, David.
And also to Morris.
Thank you, Morris, as well.
Thank you as well.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Rabbi Black.
Shalom.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.